Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is September 20th, and it is Saturday. It's been a very interesting day in the world as a whole, but hopefully, all you guys have had a wonderful day. As you know, it's the weekend, of course. Hopefully, all you guys are enjoying yourself and getting all the relaxation that you need. Outside of that, though, if you're new here, please subscribe as we are trying to hit 500 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing, as all funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support. It means the world to me. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Moving on to the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is Trump has signed an order requiring $100,000 payments for H-1B visas. Trump has signed a proclamation requiring $100,000 annual fees for skilled foreign workers to come to the United States and work, along with releasing his gold card that costs $1 million and offers a path to U.S. citizenship. If these make it through the courts, they will bring a high price increase and will make it much more expensive for people to not only come here but to work here in the United States. Many parts of the tech industry use H-1B visas for employees, but Trump says that this won't be a problem. I don't know about that one. Well, this is another hit to the workforce and the economy of the United States, especially when it comes to foreign companies bringing workers in and investing in our country. This administration is doing the exact opposite of what they say they want to do, along with selling our country to the highest bidder day after day. I mean, $1 million for a path to citizenship is crazy, and most should recognize that. And if you don't, where is your $1 million to spare? I mean, no one has just $1 million to throw around like that, especially the working class within America. You don't just got $1 million to throw at something. You really don't. So, how do you expect people to come to the United States when they don't have $1 million? Like, if your own people can't afford that, how do you expect other people to afford that? That's just insane. In other news, the United States has told Baltic states and NATO that it will partially halt assistance. The U.S. plans to stop sending security assistance to Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, NATO members which border Russia, according to Reuters. Pentagon officials told European diplomats in August that the aid to the countries would be stopped. During a meeting with David Baker, Pentagon officials said that Europe should not be dependent on the U.S., and the U.S. will focus on other priorities like its own defense. This answers a lot of questions and prompts a lot of questions. For one, why does the U.S. need to worry about its own defense? I mean, we are already at the most strategic location for really any country in the world, and no other country is going to try and invade us. It just wouldn't work out. I mean, that's what's nice about the United States and its self-defense is the geographical location that our country is in and the geographical challenges that would be presented if you tried to invade the United States make it not worth it. It really does, and it would just not be possible for it to happen, in all honesty. But also, no, we all know that this administration wants less to do with NATO, which isn't a smart idea in any ways. For one, it drops a lot of influence that we would have over Europe. But Russia is also going to attempt to make a show of force of dominance in the region, which is going to raise tensions even more. They want to show their ego because they know nothing ever happens until it does. But it's going to be a problem, and this is already really alarming because we'll talk about it a little later. But Russia flew over Estonian airspace, yesterday, violating that. In other news, Trump has canceled the hunger survey within the United States. The Trump administration is ending the government's annual report on hunger in America due to it being overly politicized and rife with inaccuracies. This comes as the Trump administration signed the Big Beautiful Bill, which reduces food aid to low-income people by a lot, and as 300 million Americans lose SNAP benefits. The USDA said in a statement, "The questions used to collect the data are entirely subjective and do not present an accurate picture of an actual food actual food security. The data is rife with inaccuracy, slanted to create a narrative that is not representative of what is actually happening in the countryside, as well as currently experiencing low poverty rates, increasing wages, and job growth under the Trump administration. That's a load of bullshit. And I think we all know that. The Trump administration is failing to create jobs. They've said that themselves, and there are so many studies that have gone out there and proved that. We've talked about that on multiple occasions. And with that follows higher poverty rates. Sorry, and we all know that wages aren't getting any higher either. I mean, look at your paychecks. I am sure you are not making any money or much more money compared to the last administration unless you got a nice promotion. I mean, the federal minimum wage here is still $7 an hour, and nobody's changing that. Not even the administration. I tell that to my friends from other countries that our federal minimum wage is $7 an hour, and it genuinely shocks them. They tell me that that is criminal, and that's because it is. It is criminal that the federal minimum wage in our country is $7 an hour. I mean, people in this country are dying of hunger every day. It is a problem that needs to be fixed, just like people around the world are dying of hunger every day. And let's not forget, the only countries to vote against food being a human right were the United States and Israel. And that is a massive problem that shouldn't be the case, because food and water should be a human right. Every human should have the right to two of the most essential things to keep them alive. Like, it should be a human right for me to be able to eat and to be able to drink. Yet, because of the United States, it is not. And that is disgusting. In other news, Tom Homan previously faced investigation for bribery. Border czar Tom Homan was investigated by federal law enforcement last year and allegedly accepted $50,000 in cash from agents posing as business executives looking for government contracts. MSNBC reported that Homan indicated that he could help the undercover agents win contracts, and the FBI and DOJ waited and watched for that to be the case, but the case eventually stalled and was closed under the Trump administration. This is not shocking at all. The real question is, did it happen or not within the Trump administration? Because foreign agents getting government contracts isn't something that should be okay, and is something everyone should be worried about. Usually those agents aren't the friendly kind and don't have the most positive, motives. In other news, talking about Charlie Kirk, federal investigators have found no evidence that the left was involved in killing Charlie Kirk in any way, shape, or form. The federal investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk that was supported by the Trump administration has found no link between Tyler Robinson and any left-wing groups, as the Trump administration continues to claim that that is the case. One person familiar with the case said, "Thus far, there is no evidence connecting the suspect with any left-wing groups. Every indication so far is that one guy who did this really bad thing was because that he found Kirk's ideology personally offensive." The more and more I read about this event, the more interesting it becomes. First of all, the gun they claimed to used by the shooter would have blown his head into pieces rather than just making a small hole in his neck. He used a Mauser 98. And if you don't believe me, look up a video of someone shooting a watermelon with one. That gun is known as the forefather of rifles, I believe is what you would call, or what it has been historically called. And it is a monster. If you have not shot one yourself, I recommend you go watch a video of someone using one and shooting a watermelon with it. I don't care how you feel about this situation, but the more information that comes out, the more it seems a lot more deep than what they would want you to think. And it's going to continue to become interesting day after day as more information is leaked. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding it, but as someone who is well versed in firearms and who knows a lot about them and has shot quite a few of them, if they claim it to be the gun that it is, it should not have been like that. I can promise you that much. Anyways, in other news, Russia has violated Estonian airspace. Estonia has invoked Article 4 within NATO as Russian jets have violated the country's airspace. Three Russian MiG-31 fighter jets entered Estonia's airspace for around 12 minutes over the Gulf of Finland. Italy, Finland, and Sweden scrambled the jets, and a NATO spokesperson called it yet another example of reckless Russian behavior and NATO's ability to respond. Per usual, Russia has denied this being the case. This is three times in about 2 weeks, which is crazy, but also really confusing. Like I've said, I don't think Putin is dumb enough to keep doing this, but yet here we are with three times now. Is it just a violation of airspace? Yes, but 3 times in 2 weeks with different countries is more than just an accident. Will this lead to something? No, probably not. Nothing ever happens. But I don't think NATO will just let Russia continue to violate its members' airspace. And especially with the United States kind of backing off, it's really interesting that that's happening at the exact same time. In other news, we have something really unfortunate as a college football player has died after a football game. A Mississippi Community College football player died after a football game from medical complications. On Friday, Emmanuel Cooks was a freshman offensive lineman and died after the game against Hines Community College. The school statement does not specify the cause of this death. This is absolutely horrible, and my full condolences go to the family. It is truly scary that things like this can happen. Football is a dangerous sport, and you put a lot on the line by playing it. And I have all the respects for those players who, have continuously put their body on the line to play 4 quarters of football every week for millions of Americans to watch. That's something truly to be proud of, especially as somebody who has played football before. I played 2 seasons in high school. And that is definitely not something that I could do in a professional setting, and to the people who are able to do that, that is truly an accomplishment and truly a feat to be able to, get done. So I have full, props to people who are able to accomplish that and be successful. In other news, Albania has introduced a AI minister. An AI-generated government minister has made its debut in the Albanian parliament, with the Prime Minister Edi Rama pretending to be the AI as a symbol of presenting the AI as a symbol of transparency and innovation. The government said the bot is named Delia and is displayed as a woman in traditional Albanian clothes that will help tackle corruption in public spending. The AI claims it will embody such values as strictly every human colleague and maybe even more, whatever that means. Hell no, absolutely not. One foreign government hacker, and that is absolutely over for that. I hope this does not become a regular thing because, for one, especially in the United States, that would really fit, the late stage capitalism vibe that we're kind of at right now. I mean, can you imagine the feudal tech lords with their AI representatives and governors, pretending to represent the constituents when they really don't at all? That is not a future that I want to live in. I'd rather be falsely represented by a person than, a robot. As you all know, I am not a fan of robots and I am not a fan of AI. And that is never going to change because I do not think that AI should take a job that a person could easily do, for one, but I do not think AI should, be able to be used the way it is and be able to be taken advantage of the way it is. It definitely needs to be regulated, and people need to be stopped from using it in ways that not only negatively impact their life, but negatively impact others' lives. With that being said, though, thank you all for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world. If you are new here, though, please subscribe as we are on our way to 500 subscribers, as mentioned. Hopefully by the end of the year, maybe possibly it could happen. Outside of that, though, if you are on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.